I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Monday, January 23rd, 2023. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Being that it's International Chest Day, it feels like it's only right that we celebrate in style with a 5-plate drop set from your reigning and defending Olympia champ, Hadi Choopan. A few days ago, Hadi's team released this video of him hammering out one of the most ridiculous sets that we've seen anyone in a long time do. And if anything, I think it just goes to show you how focused he is on doing whatever he has to make sure the standout trophy makes the long trip back home with him again this November. And if he's going to stay dialed in like this, with the intensity cranked all the way up to a 10, it's going to be tough sledding for all the other top guys out there who are trying to close the gap. Based on what we know today, just looking at the Arnold Classic lineup on paper, there are at least 3 or 4 guys who deserve serious consideration as title contenders. And that doesn't even account for the fact that we're still waiting to see if the other shoe is going to drop with Derek Lunsford. And anytime you have a lineup this deep, inevitably, it means you're going to have a logjam of talent all scraping and clawing to carve their own little space in the top 5. And even though he hasn't gotten as much attention as some of the other names on the roster, Justin Rodriguez probably also deserves to be mentioned as a potential top 5 contender here too. Now granted, Justin wasn't at his best during the Olympia weekend, but the same can be said for a handful of other athletes that we're going to see on stage in Columbus too, which means that you can't necessarily discount him as one of the dark horse contenders here. When Justin is on and fully dialed in, he's proven that he can be one of the best in the world. So if that's the Justin that we get to see 7 weeks from now, don't be surprised if he ends up placing a lot higher than some people are anticipating. This is a rhetorical question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How many competitors on the Arnold Classic roster have an Olympia title on their resume? Or better yet, how many competitors have 2? Does anyone on the roster not named Shaun Clarida have 2 world titles on their resume? Because the last time I checked, the answer was no, which does make it seem odd that we aren't hearing a lot of talk about Shaun potentially challenging for a top 3 spot. Pound for pound, he's the most complete athlete in the lineup, not to mention the fact that he's coming in riding more momentum than anyone else he'll be on stage with. The man is legitimately one of the most dangerous bodybuilders on the planet. And if we're overlooking him as a potential threat to give Nick Walker, Samson Dowder, William Bonac, and any of the other guys a serious run for their money, it's a huge mistake, because there is absolutely a world where he can find a way to win the title. We already know that Shaun and Kamal are making the division jump to compete at the Arnold Classic in a few weeks. But I bet you that if we threw up on an Instagram poll right now asking which athlete you would most like to see compete outside of their division, that the overwhelming majority of people would say they wanted to see Chris Bumstead, CBUM, try to make a run at the open bodybuilding, which might be a lot closer to happening than some of us might have thought. During a recent interview, Chris went on the record and said that he would have seriously considered competing in the Arnold Classic if it were 4 to 6 weeks post-Olympia, which felt like a little bit of a revelation right after he said it, because his camp has been pretty emphatic in the past about him not making the jump to the open bodybuilding division. Now, to be fair, Chris did say that if he did it, that it would most likely be a one-time deal, and that he would never consider totally moving out of Classic, which essentially would be a legacy killer for him. But with that being said, winning an open show would definitely be a big feather in his cap. So it'll be interesting to see when, or ultimately if he decides to pursue this down the road. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.